Joining us, MSNBC senior political and national reporter Jacob Soboroff, an associate professor at Loyola Marymount University and co-author of How Bad Bunny Became the Global Voice of Puerto Rican Resistance, Vanessa Diaz. Vanessa, first to you, why was it so momentous? Why is such a big deal to have Bad Bunny play the halftime show?
Well, I think regardless of the political moment, Bad Bunny has made a lot of firsts. He's been, the first artist in Spanish to win Album of the Year at the Grammys and a slew of other things. But this moment in particular, to have someone like Bad Bunny, who has broken all of these records in Spanish, is a loud, proud Latino Puerto Rican, stands up for what he believes in and his music and all of the other components of his art. And so right now, we really need that voice. And I think it felt even bigger because of the political situation we're experiencing right now, where Latinos are being targeted.
What I think so interesting is that the controversy around this seems to presume, among those who are outraged by it, that Puerto Ricans aren't Americans. And Puerto Ricans don't deserve to be represented at the Super Bowl, as if they're some foreigners. And a former Trump press aide clapped back at that on social media. He only left the White House, by the way, a few months ago. This is Harrison Fields. He says, "Last time I checked, my Puerto Rican-born grandmother was a full American citizen, and she voted for Donald Trump." It's strange, given that she voted for Trump and Puerto Ricans can be, like anybody, very conservative, why they'd want to diminish or dismiss that entire voting bloc.
Well, I think that just goes to show, first of all, that people don't understand the relationship between Puerto Rico and the U.S. But in fact, yes, it's a voting bloc of Puerto Ricans from the diaspora who are in the U.S. But I also think it's this reminder of the kind of exclusion of Puerto Ricans from the national consciousness. And part of that is that Puerto Ricans on the island do not have voting rights. And so I think that this kind of idea of them as foreign others, which extends to Latinos in the U.S. mainland as well. But I think for Puerto Rico in particular, because it's a territory, many Americans don't understand the relationship. It kind of adds this other layer to the ways in which Bad Bunny was positioned as a foreign other.
And Vanessa, the symbolism throughout the show, there were a number of symbols. The one that really jumped out to me just from my time covering Trump and covering Puerto Rico post that disastrous hurricane back during his first administration were the electric poles and the drama surrounding that. That must have been very intentional.
Oh, it's incredibly intentional. That entire song he was performing there is called El Apagón, which means the blackout. And so, it's really incredible that if you know the history, then it registered really quickly. But I think people were confused. Are those fireworks? Is that a power outage? What's happening? And that's part of what he was doing in that moment, was like, it was celebratory, but it was very political. And that was the longest blackout in the history of the U.S. It lasted almost a year. And so bringing that back up in this massive stage was really important and moving.
Honestly, at one point I thought he might throw out a paper towel just to really hammer it home, a roll of paper towels. I thought for a moment funny. Maybe. It would have been, but it would have sent Trump into a crazier tizzy than he already went into.
Are you wondering why I'm here?
There's a business angle, because there was a moment when I was watching when I thought, well, this would have been very at home at a baseball game, because baseball is filled with Latinos. It is a very multicultural sport. Not as many Latinos in football.
Wait,
but
hold on,
it's intentional. Stop.
This is the most streamed artist on planet Earth.
No, but also because NFL owners, conservative as they may be, want to reach out to a new audience as well.
Of course they do. I just want to say why I'm here.
Yeah, he's the most
I love Bad Bunny.
artist.
He's the most streamed artist on planet Earth. Titi Me Pregunto might be my favorite song, but many of them are fan favorites. And he did open with that.
You were blushing.
Are many fan favorites in the Soboroff family. I'm just going to admit it. Maybe I've just been having a hard time in life, but I cried watching the performance. And I sat there with Nicole, my wife, and our two children, who are 10 and 6. And when he said, "God bless America," and then went on to name almost every country, I think, in the Americas. It was an extraordinary thing to see. It was an extraordinary thing to see Via's Tacos from Figueroa, around the corner from where I live, represented on the big stage of the Super Bowl. Every little story that he told over the course of the half hour, whatever it was, performance was so specific and about something so real and so relatable to people all across this country that it was emotional. And it's just, what he was describing is the country that I hope my children understand that they can grow up in, not the one that so many little kids right now in places like LA and other places are scared of.
I think it was a really fun performance. I speak some Spanish. I still didn't understand a word of it mostly. I was watching it with a guy from Spain who also didn't understand most of it, but the music is great. And it was an awesome halftime show with, I think, a really resonant and powerful message.
We should have gone to the residency in Puerto Rico, Katie. I tried to get her to go, guys, but she didn't want to go.
Work doesn't let me leave.
Sure.
I know. Tell me about it. Well, even the Mexico City concert, I tried to get her to.
Okay,
she wants to go to Fish. Is all she wants to go
that was
see.
amazing too.
I will go, but I dance like a lane, so you can't make fun of me. At a Fish concert, that's fine. No one cares. At a Bad Bunny concert,
Nobody knows
I might stand out.
Now I'm going to get a Fish hate mail.
All right, Jacob Soboroff, I'm putting up my hand to tell you to cut it out. And Vanessa Diaz, thank you so much for having some fun with me at the end of the show. I appreciate it.